Clapping for the wrong person. Welcome to South Church in Amherst as we commemorate our nation's 250th birthday with the reading of Frederick Douglass's What to a Slave is the 4th of July. A special welcome today to our esteemed panelists, to the gospel choir, to the readers, all 53 of them, and yeah, really. And to all of you. And as we begin today, it would be a mistake not to recognize the hard work, months of hard work and commitment of the committee that plans this event, especially to the chairs, Gina Collins and Bruce Penniman. Would you Welcome to all of you, too. Welcome to this sanctuary, which has served for 200 years as a focal point for public worship, for town meetings, and civic gatherings. Welcome to this congregation, where we believe that everyone is a child of God, regardless of race, religion, immigrant status, sexual orientation. We believe in a God who built diversity into the world order at the beginning of time and who reveled in its potential for good. We stand on land today which humbles us. The church stands and has been blessed by the nurture of many generations of faithful folk. 200 years it has been tended by Europeans, and before that, natives who called this earth sacred. We acknowledge that Western Massachusetts is the ancestral home of the Nonotuck people. We also acknowledge the neighboring indigenous nations, the Nipmuc, the Wampanoag to the east, the Mohegan and the Pequot to the south, the Mohegan to the west, and the Abenaki to the north. Through colonization, we know that Europeans displaced, removed, and attempted the genocide of these indigenous people. As a church, we believe that our faith is not locked in the past, but it needs to be relevant to our lives today. And at this unique crossroads in our nation's history, we believe that we need to listen to the voices of prophets, especially prophets like Frederick Douglass, who spoke the truth in another era of challenge and enormous adversity. We hope his words will inspire us to find our voices too today. Our Declaration of Independence is a document that was forged in a crucible of debate. And for 250 years, our nation has relied on the rich resource of the wisdom born of different diverse opinions. It has been the making of us. This diversity of opinion has been the fuel of our economic prowess, the strength of our academic excellence, and the wind beneath our sails as a nation. If there was ever a time when good people needed to find their various voices, this is that time. So let us listen to these immortal words and take heart. The future is in our hands if we can find our voices too. And now, the gospel choir.
Tali na masibos, wasizi misaleko luleko. Asika tali na masibos, wasizi misaleko luleko. Umse malotwalo, umfu mama toda. Umse malotwalo, umfu mama toda. Matter if you should You know, in the black church, they would say, glory. You know that song? Glory, hallelujah. We're not singing that one today. But what we are saying is glory. And I know they said that because I heard my grandmama, when she noticed that she got a job, she sang glory. Glory, I got a job. That was a rare thing. She went to Tuskegee and got her degree there, my grandmother, in math. Hot dog glory. That's what she said. Glory. Every time there was a blessing, we didn't miss it. We got food on this table. Glory. Glory. So we're going to sing about glory today.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours, it'll be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory. 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 Oh, glory. Glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon. Formed against, yes, glory is destined. Every day, women and men become legends. Against our sin, become lessons. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all, just ain't specific enough. See, one side, spirit is living in us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Moses sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it goes down, woman and man up. They say stay down and stand up. Shots beyond the ground. The camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Glory. Oh, now the war's not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. And when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, oh, we'll cry glory, oh glory.
Solace now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch. We gon' run with it now. Never look back. We done gone hundreds of miles from dark roads, heroes to become a hero. Thanks to leading justice, power was the people. Enemy is lethal. A king became real. Saw the face of Jim Crow, unrevolved eagle. The biggest weapon is to say peace while we sing. Our music are the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders, young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory, the coming of the Lord. My eyes have seen the Lord.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours, it'll be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Glory. Glory. Oh.
just like you to see what the end will be. I moaned and I moaned till I came through to see what the end will be. Done, made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. Oh, I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be. Done, made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. Oh, I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be. When every star refused to shine, to see what the end will be. I know King Jesus will be mine, to see what the end will be. Done, made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. Oh, I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Bruce Penniman. I'm a member of the South Church Arts and Social Justice Committee and the community-based Reading Frederick Douglass Together Committee. And on their behalf, I want to add my welcome to all of you today. It's an honor for us to host this event again this year. And I want to take a moment to thank all of the organizations that help make it possible. You can see their logos in your program. We get a lot of help, especially from Mass Humanities, which is sponsoring 76 of these readings across the Commonwealth this year. Isn't that great? I think it's an appropriate number for this 250th anniversary year, right? I also want to thank the many, many, many volunteers. You see some of them listed here who've contributed their time and talents to preparing this event, as well as the Amherst Area Gospel Choir, so inspiring to all of us. And as Reverend Susan mentioned, the 53 readers who are going to bring Frederick Douglass's words to life today. It really does take a village to make something like this happen. A new feature in this year's program is a multi-generational panel discussion following the reading of the speech. We hope that you will find it stimulating. And we hope, too, that you will stay for the reception downstairs afterwards. We have a lot of very delicious refreshments. We have free books by African American writers that you can take. And, of course, there's an opportunity for fellowship and conversation. A few days ago, a reporter called me and asked why holding a reading of Douglass's "What to the Slave is the 4th of July" speech every year, why is that important? I actually don't remember what I said to him at the time, but I've been thinking about that question a lot since then. And for me, two values keep coming to the top of my mind as answers: diversity and community. I think of the epilogue of Ralph Ellison's seminal novel, Invisible Man, where the unnamed protagonist says, and I'm excerpting here, "Whence all this passion towards conformity? Diversity is the word. Let man keep his many parts, and you will have no tyrant states." America is woven of many strands. I would recognize them and let it so remain. End quote. We know that many strands make a strong fabric, just as many voices make a beautiful choir, and just as our nation's history is not a single story, but rather an anthology of narratives told from diverse perspectives. We know this is true, and not so long ago, it seemed like the nation as a whole might finally be ready to reckon with the more troubling aspects of our national story, as many of our schools and universities and civic organizations have been doing for some time. Unfortunately, we're in a moment where national policy discourages broadening our understanding of history and affirming our diversity. Worse, the unalienable rights achieved through struggle and sacrifice are no longer secure, not for everyone. It's troubling and it's disheartening, and it's tempting to tune it all out. But the antidote to despair is solidarity. Which brings me to the other key value. Diversity is the word, but community is the work. In his 1956 speech, The Birth of a New Age, Martin Luther King Jr. said that to live in the new world he envisioned, quote, "We must rise above the narrow confines of our individualistic concerns with a broader concern for all humanity," end quote. To hasten the transition from the old age into the new, he said, we will have to rise up in protest as a means to an end. But the end is the creation of a beloved community. To underscore the connection between the values of diversity and community, I'd like to add this note from cultural critic Bell Hooks, her book, Killing Rage, Ending Racism. Beloved community is formed not by the eradication of difference, but by its affirmation. By each of us claiming the identities and the cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world. We hope that today's program will be a small step toward fostering that kind of community, one that affirms unalienable rights for everybody. So let's hear the words of Frederick Douglass, given on July 5th, 1852, at an Independence Day celebration organized by the Rochester Ladies Anti-Slavery Society. That too was a turbulent time in America. There was festering outrage over the Fugitive Slave Act, passed in 1850 with the endorsement of the current president then. A law that effectively expanded slavery to all states. Uncle Tom's Cabin, published only months before Douglas's speech, was bringing widespread attention to the many cruelties of slavery to people who hadn't learned about it before, and especially to the separation of families. It was also a divisive election year when both major parties were hopelessly splintered. It all sounds so familiar. We don't know what Douglas's audience was expecting him to say that July 5th, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't what they heard when he spoke. It is not light that is needed, but fire, he exclaimed. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. Get ready for the storm. To maintain the momentum of the speech, we've asked all the readers to sit in order up in the front here. And readers, we ask that when it's time for your row to read, that you come up to the first row of the choir, which will be our on-deck circle. And in fact, rows 1 through 5, you can proceed up there now. Also, readers, please remember to adjust the microphone so that it's pointing right at your lips, so everybody can hear you. There are 2 changes to the reader list. Katie McGovern is going to be reading paragraph 24, and Orca Geruso is going to be reading number 46. Also, 2 of our readers, Sonia Nieto and Premila Nair, I didn't say it right, Nair, right? Will read their passages in Spanish as well as in English. Okay. If you want to follow along with the text of the speech, you can use your phone or the URL that's in the program or the QR code there. That will take you to the text. But I encourage you just to listen, okay? So now please welcome the renowned storyteller, Eshu Bumpus, who is going to begin the reading of Frederick Douglass's What to the Slave is the 4th of July.
Mr. President, friends, and fellow citizens, the task before me is one which requires much previous thought and study for its proper performance. I do not remember ever to have appeared as a speaker before any assembly more shrinkingly, nor with greater distrust of my ability than I do this day. The papers and placards say that I am to deliver a 4th of July oration. The fact is, ladies and gentlemen, the distance between this platform and the slave plantation from which I escaped is considerable, and the difficulties to be overcome in getting from the latter to the former are by no means slight. That I am here today is, to me, a matter of astonishment as well as of gratitude.
This, for the purpose of this celebration, is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. This, to you, is what the Passover was to the emancipated people of God. It carries your mind back to the day and to the act of your great deliverance. This celebration also marks the beginning of another year of your national life and reminds you that the Republic of America is now 76 years old. I am glad, fellow citizens, that your nation is so young. You are, even now, only in the beginning of your national career, still lingering in the period of childhood. I repeat, I am glad this is so. There is hope in the thought, and hope is much needed under the dark clouds which lower above the horizon.
Fellow citizens, 76 years ago, the people of this country were British subjects. The style and title of your sovereign people, in which you now glory, was not then born. You were under the British crown. Your fathers esteemed the English government as the home government. England as the fatherland, although considerable distance from your home, imposed, in the exercise of its parental prerogatives upon its colonial children, such restraints, burdens, and limitations as in its mature judgment it deemed wise, right, and proper.
But your fathers, who had not adopted the idea of the infallibility of government and the absolute character of its acts, presumed to differ from the home government in respect to the wisdom and the justice of some of those burdens and restraints. They went so far as to pronounce the measures of government unjust, unreasonable, and oppressive, and altogether such as ought not to be quietly submitted to. I scarcely need to say, fellow citizens, that my opinion of those measures fully accords with that of your fathers. Feeling themselves harshly and unjustly treated by the home government, your fathers, like men of honesty and men of spirit, earnestly sought redress. They petitioned and remonstrated. They did so in a decorous, respectful, and loyal manner. This, however, did not answer the purpose. They saw themselves treated with sovereign indifference, coldness, and scorn. Yet they persevered.
Oppression makes a wise man mad. Your fathers became restive under this treatment. They felt themselves the victims of grievous wrongs, wholly incurable in their colonial capacity. With grave men, there is always a remedy for oppression. Just here, the idea of a total separation of the colonies from the crown was born. It was a startling idea, much more so than we, at this distance of time, regard it. The timid and the prudent of that day were, of course, shocked and alarmed by it. Their opposition to the then dangerous thought was earnest and powerful, but amid all their terror and a frightened vociferation against it, the alarming and revolutionary idea moved on, and the country with it.
On the 2nd of July, 1776, the Old Continental Congress, to the dismay of the lovers of ease and the worshipers of property, clothed that dreadful idea with all the authority of national sanction. They did so in the form of a resolution. We seldom hit upon resolutions drawn up in our day, whose transparency is at all equal it. Resolved, that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown.
Citizens, your fathers made good that resolution. They succeeded, and today you reap the fruits of their success. The freedom gained is yours, and you, therefore, may properly celebrate this anniversary. The 4th of July is the first great fact in your nation's history, the very ring bolt in the chain of your yet undeveloped destiny.
Pride and patriotism, not less than gratitude, prompt you to celebrate and to hold it in perpetual remembrance. I have said that the Declaration of Independence is the ring bolt to the chain of your nation's destiny. So indeed, I regard it. The principles contained in that instrument are saving principles. Stand by those principles, be true to them on all occasions, in all places, against all foes, and at whatever cost.
Fellow citizens, I am not wanting in respect for the fathers of this republic. The signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. I cannot contemplate their great deeds with less than admiration. They were statesmen, patriots, and heroes, and for the good they did and the principles they contended for, I will unite with you to honor their memory.
They loved their country better than their own private interest, and will all concede that it's a rare virtue that ought to command respect. He who will intelligently lay down his life for his country is the man whom it is not in human nature to despise. Your fathers staked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor on the cause of their country. In their admiration of liberty, they lost all sight of all other interest.
They were peacemen, but they preferred revolution to peaceful submission, to bondage. They were quiet men, but they did not shrink from engaging against oppression. They showed forbearance, but they knew its limits. They believed in order, but not in the order of tyranny. With them, nothing was settled. That was not right with them. Justice, liberty, and humanity were final, not slavery and oppression. You may well cherish the memory of such men. They were great in their day, and generation, their solid manhood stands out the more as we contrast it with these degenerate times.
How circumspect, exact, and proportionate were all of their movements. How unlike the politicians of an hour. Their statesmanship looked beyond the passing moment and stretched away in strength into the distant future. Mark them, fully appreciating the hardship to be encountered, firmly believing in the right of their cause, wisely measuring the terrible odds against them. Your fathers, the fathers of this republic, laid the cornerstone of the national superstructure, which has risen and still rises in grandeur around you.
Of this fundamental work, this day is the anniversary. Our eyes are met with demonstrations of joyous enthusiasm. The causes which lead to the separation of the colonies from the British Crown have never lacked for a tongue. They have all been taught in your common schools, narrated at your firesides, unfolded from your pulpits, and thundered from your legislative halls, and are as familiar to you as household words. They form the staple of your national poetry and eloquence. I leave, therefore, the great deeds of your fathers to others.
My business, if I have any here today, is with the present. The accepted time with God and his cause is the ever-living now. We have to do with the past only as we can make it useful to the present and to the future. Now is the time, the important time. Your fathers have lived, died, and done their work, and have done much of it well. You live and must die, and you must do your work. You have no right to enjoy a child's share in the labor of your fathers unless your children are to be blessed by your labors. You have no right to wear out and waste the hard-earned fame of your fathers to cover your indolence.
Fellow citizens, pardon me. Allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak today, here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I therefore called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us?
Would to God, both for your sake and ours, that an affirmative answer could be truthfully returned to this question. Then would my task be light and my burden easy and delightful? But such is not the case. I say it with a sad sense of the disparity between us. I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us.
The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence
bequeathed by your fathers, is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today?
Fellow citizens, above your national tumultuous joy, I hear the mournful wail of millions whose chains, heavy and grievous yesterday, are today rendered more intolerable by the jubilee shouts that reach them. To forget them, to pass lightly over their wrongs, and to chime in with the popular theme would be treason most scandalous and shocking, and would make me a reproach before God and the world.
My subject, then, fellow citizens, is American slavery. I shall see this day from the slave's point of view. Standing here, identified with the American bondman, making his wrongs mine, I do not hesitate to declare with all my soul that the character and conduct of this nation never looked blacker to me than on this 4th of July. Whether we turn to the declarations of the past or to the professions of the present, the conduct of the nation seems equally hideous and revolting. America is false to the past, false to the present, and solemnly binds herself to be false to the future.
Standing with God and the crushed and bleeding slave on this occasion, I will, in the name of humanity, which is outraged, in the name of liberty, which is fettered, in the name of the Constitution and the Bible, which are disregarded and trampled upon, dare to call in question and to denounce with all the emphasis I can command everything that serves to perpetuate slavery, the great sin and shame of America. I will not equivocate. I will not excuse. I will use the severest language I can command. And yet, not one word shall escape me that any man whose judgment is not blinded by prejudice, or who is not at heart a slaveholder, shall not confess to be right and just.
I fancy I hear someone of my audience say it is just in this circumstance that you and your brother abolitionists fail to make a favorable impression on the public mind. Would you argue more and denounce less? Would you persuade more and rebuke less? Your cause would be much more likely to succeed. But I submit, where all is plain, there is nothing to be argued. What point in the anti-slavery creed would you have me argue? On what branch of the subject do the people of this country need light?
Must I undertake to prove that the slave is a man? The slaveholders themselves acknowledge it in the enactment of laws for their government. They acknowledge it when they punish disobedience on the part of the slave. There are 72 crimes in the state of Virginia, which, if committed by a black man, subject him to the punishment of death, while only 2 of the same crimes will subject a white man to the like punishment. What is this but the acknowledgement that the slave is a moral, intellectual, and responsible being?
Los códigos legales del sur están repletos de disposiciones que prohíben bajo severas multas y castigos enseñar o leer al esclavo. Cuando puedan señalar leyes semejantes referidas a las bestias del campo, entonces tal vez acceda a debatir sobre la condición humana del esclavo. Cuando los perros de sus calles, las aves del cielo, el ganado de sus colinas, los peces del mar y los reptiles que se arrastran sean incapaces de distinguir el esclavo de una bestia, entonces discutiré con ustedes que el esclavo es un hombre. Southern statute books are covered with enactments forbidding, under severe fines and penalties, the teaching of the slave to read or to write. When you can point to any such laws in reference to the beasts of the field, then I may consent to argue the manhood of the slave. When the dogs in your streets, when the fowls in the air, when the cattle on your hills, when the fish of the sea and the reptiles that crawl shall be unable to distinguish the slave from a brute, then will I argue with you that the slave is the man.
Is it not astonishing that while we are plowing, planting, and reaping, using all kinds of mechanical tools, erecting houses, constructing bridges, building ships, working in metals of brass, iron, copper, silver, and gold, that while we are reading, writing, and ciphering, acting as clerks, merchants, and secretaries, having among us lawyers, doctors, ministers, poets, authors, editors, orators, and teachers, that while we are engaged in all manner of enterprises common to other men, digging gold in California, capturing the whale in the Pacific, feeding sheep and cattle on the hillside, living, moving, acting, thinking, planning, living in families as husbands, wives, and children, and above all, confessing and worshiping the Christian's God and looking hopefully for life and immortality beyond the grave. We are called upon to prove that we are men.
Would you have me argue that man is entitled to liberty? That he is the rightful owner of his own body? You have already declared it. Must I argue the wrongfulness of slavery? Is it to be settled by the rules of logic and argumentation as a matter beset with great difficulty, involving a doubtful application of the principle of justice, hard to be understood? How should I look today in the presence of Americans to show that men have a natural right to freedom? To do so would make myself ridiculous, and to offer an insult to your understanding. There is not a man beneath the canopy of heaven that does not know that slavery is wrong for him.
In this next passage, Douglas gets real. Talking about the inhumanity of slavery. And there are people at work today putting together curriculums that would not even contain these words because they don't want our children to be upset. I've never known truth to upset my children. What? Am I to argue that it was wrong to make men brutes, to rob them of their liberty, to work them without wages, to keep them ignorant of their relations to their fellow man, to beat them with sticks, to flay their flesh with the lash, to load their limbs with irons, to hunt them with dogs, to sell them at auction, to sunder their families, to knock out their teeth, to burn their flesh, to starve them into obedience and submission to their masters. Must I argue that a system thus marked with blood and stained with pollution is wrong? No, I will not. I have better employments of my time and strength than such arguments would imply.
What then remains to be argued? Is it that slavery is not divine? That our doctors of divinity are not mistaken? There's blasphemy in that thought. That which is inhuman cannot be divine. Who can reason on such a proposition? I cannot. The time for such argument is past.
At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability, and could I reach the nation's ear, I would, today, pour out a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. And its crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced.
What to the American slave is the 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all the other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty, equality, hollow mockery, your prayers, your hymns, your sermons, and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are you to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages.
There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all monarchies and despotisms of the old world, search every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without rival.
Take the American slave trade, which we are told by the papers is especially prosperous now, as the price of men was never higher, and which is carried on in all the large towns and cities in one half of this Confederacy. This trade is one of the peculiarities of American institutions. In several states, this trade is a chief source of wealth. It is called the internal slave trade, in order to divert from it the horror with which the foreign slave trade is contemplated.
The foreign slave trade has long since been denounced by this government as piracy, as an execrable traffic. To arrest it, this nation keeps a squadron at immense cost on the coast of Africa. Everywhere in this country, it is safe to speak of this foreign slave trade as a most inhuman traffic, opposed alike to the laws of God and of man. It is, however, a notable fact that while so much excretion is poured out by Americans upon those engaged in the foreign slave trade, the men engaged in the slave trade between the states pass without condemnation, and their business is deemed honorable.
Behold the practical operation of this internal slave trade, the American slave trade, sustained by American politics and American religion. Here you will see men and women reared like swine for the market. You know what is a swine drover? I will show you a man drover. They inhabit all our southern states. They perambulate the country and crowd the highways of the nation with droves of human stock. You will see one of these human flesh jobbers armed with pistol, whip, and bowie knife, driving a company of 100 men, women, and children from the Potomac to the slave market at New Orleans. These wretched people are to be sold singly or in lots to suit purchasers. They are food for the cotton field and the deadly sugar mill.
Mark the sad procession as it moves wearily along, and the inhuman wretch who drives them. Hear his savage yells and his blood-chilling oaths as he hurries on his affrighted captives. There, see the old man with locks thinned and gray. Cast one glance, if you please, upon the young mother whose shoulders are bare to the scorching sun. Her briny tears fall on the brow of the babe in her arms. See, too, that girl of 13, weeping, yes, weeping, as she thinks of the mother from whom she has been torn. The drove moves tardily. Heat and sorrow have nearly consumed their strength. Suddenly you hear a quick snap, like the discharge of a rifle. The fetters clank and the chains rattle simultaneously. Your ears are saluted with a scream that seems to have been torn its way to the center of your soul. That crack you heard was the sound of the slave whip. The scream you heard was from the woman you saw with the babe. Her speed had faltered under the weight of her child and her change. That gash on her shoulder tells her to move on.
Follow this drove to New Orleans. Attend the auction. See men examined like horses. See the forms of women brutally exposed to the shocking gaze of American slave buyers. See this drove sold and separated forever, and never forget the deep, sad sobs that arose from the scattered multitude. Tell me, citizens, where under the sun you can witness a spectacle more fiendish and shocking. Yet this is but a glance at the American slave trade as it exists at this moment in the ruling part of the United States.
I was born amid such sights and scenes. To me, the American slave trade is a terrible reality. The fleshmongers gather up their victims by dozens and drive them chained to the General Depot at Baltimore. When a sufficient number has been collected here, a ship is chartered for the purpose of conveying the forlorn crew to Mobile or to New Orleans. From the slave prison to the ship, they are usually driven in the darkness of night. Into the deep, still darkness of midnight, I have often been aroused by the dead. By the dead, heavy footsteps or the piteous cries of chained gangs that pass our door.
Fellow citizens, this murderous traffic is, today, in active operation in this boasted republic. In the solitude of my spirit, I see clouds of dust raised on the highways of the South. I see the bleeding footsteps. I hear the doleful wail of fettered humanity on the way to the slave markets, where the victims are to be sold like horses, sheep, and swine, knocked off to the highest bidder. There I see the tenderest ties ruthlessly broken to gratify the lust, caprice, and rapacity of the buyers and sellers of men. My soul sickens at the sight.
But a still more inhuman, disgraceful, and scandalous state of things remains to be presented. By an act of the American Congress, not yet 2 years old, slavery has been nationalized in its most horrible and revolting form. Mason and Dixon's line has been obliterated. New York has become as Virginia, and the power to hold, hunt, and sell men, women, and children as slaves remains no longer a mere state institution, but is now an institution of the whole United States.
The power is coextensive with the Star-Spangled Banner and American Christianity. Where these go may also go the merciless slave hunter. Where these are, man is not sacred. He is a bird for the sportsman's gun. By that most foul and fiendish of all human decrees, the liberty and person of every man are put in peril. Your broad republican domain is a hunting ground for men.
Your lawmakers have commanded all good citizens to engage in this hellish sport. Your president, your secretary of state enforce as a duty you owe to your free and glorious country, and to your God that you do this accursed thing. No fewer than 40 Americans have, within the past 2 years, been hunted down and without a moment's warning, hurried away in chains, and consigned to slavery and excruciating torture. Some have had wives and children dependent on them for bread, but of this no account was made. The right of the hunter to his prey stands superior to the right of marriage and to all rights in this republic, the right of God included.
For black men, there is neither law nor justice, humanity nor religion. The fugitive slave law makes mercy to them a crime and bribes the judge who tries them. An American judge gets $10 for every victim he consigns to slavery, and 5 when he fails to do so. The oath of any 2 villains is sufficient under this hell-black enactment to send the most pious and exemplary black man into the remorseless jaws of slavery. His own testimony is nothing. He can bring no witnesses for himself. The minister of American justice is bound by the law to hear but one side, and that side is the side of the oppressor.
Let this damning fact be perpetually told. Let it be thundered around the world that in tyrant-killing, king-hating, people-loving, democratic Christian America, the seats of justice are filled with judges who hold their offices under an open and palpable bribe and are bound in deciding in the case of a man's liberty to hear only his accusers.
in glaring violation of justice, in shameless disregard of the forms of administering law, in cunning arrangement to entrap the defenseless, and diabolical intent, this fugitive slave law stands alone in the annals of tyrannical legislation.
Americans, your Republican politics, not less than your Republican religion, are flagrantly inconsistent. You boast of your love of liberty, your superior civilization, and your pure Christianity, while the whole political power of the nation is solemnly pledged to support and perpetuate the enslavement of 3 millions of your countrymen. You hurl your anathemas at the crowned-headed tyrants of Russia and Austria, and pride yourselves on your democratic institutions, while you yourselves consent to be the mere tools and bodyguards of the tyrants of Virginia and Carolina.
You invite to your shores fugitives of oppression from abroad. Honor them with banquets. Greet them with ovations. Cheer them, toast them, salute them, protect them, and pour out your money to them like water. But the fugitives from your own land, you advertise, hunt, arrest, shoot, and kill. You glory in your refinement, in your universal education. Yet you maintain a system as barbarous and dreadful as ever stained the character of a nation. A system begun in avarice, supported in pride, and perpetuated in cruelty.
Artificial intelligence.
You shed tears over fallen Hungary and make the sad story of her wrongs the theme of your poets, statesmen, and orators, till your gallant sons are ready to fly to arms to vindicate her cause against the oppressor. But in regard to the 10,000 wrongs of the American slave, you would enforce the strictest silence and would hail him as an enemy of the nation who dares to make those wrongs the subject of public discourse. You are all on fire at the mention of liberty for France and for Ireland, but are as cold as an iceberg at the thought of liberty for the enslaved of America.
You discourse eloquently on the dignity of labor, yet you sustain a system which is in its very essence, casts a stigma upon labor. You can bare your bosom to the storm of British artillery to throw off a 3-penny tax, and yet wring the last hard-earned farthing from the grasp of the black laborers of your country. You profess to believe that of one blood God made all nations of men to do all the face of all the earth, and commands all men everywhere to love one another. Yet you notoriously hate and glory in your hatred all men whose skins are not the color like your own.
declaráis ante el mundo, y el mundo entiende que así lo declaráis, que consideráis evidentes estas verdades, que todos los hombres son creados iguales y dotados por su Creador de ciertos derechos inalienables, y que entre ellos se encuentran la vida, la libertad y la búsqueda de la felicidad. Y sin embargo, mantenéis firmemente sometida a la esclavitud una servidumbre que, según vuestro propio Thomas Jefferson, es peor que siglos de aquella contra la que vuestros padres se alzaron en rebelión, a una séptima parte de los habitantes de vuestro país. You declare before the world, and are understood by the world to declare, that you hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And yet you hold securely in a bondage which, according to your own Thomas Jefferson, is worse than ages of that which your fathers rose in rebellion to oppose, a seventh part of the inhabitants of your country.
Fellow citizens, I will not enlarge further on your national inconsistencies. The existence of slavery in this country brands your republicanism as a sham, your humanity as a base pretense, and your Christianity as a lie. It destroys your moral power abroad. It corrupts your politicians at home. It saps the foundation of religion. It makes your name a hissing and a byword to a mocking earth.
It is the antagonistic force in your government, the only thing that seriously disturbs and endangers your union. It fetters your progress. It is the enemy of improvement, the deadly foe of education. It fosters pride. It breeds insolence. It promotes vice. It shelters crime. It is a curse to the earth that supports it. And yet you cling to it as if it were the sheet anchor of all your hopes. Be warned. A horrible reptile is coiled up in your nation's bosom. The venomous creature is nursing at the tender breast of your youthful republic. For the love of God, tear away and fling from you the hideous monster, and let the weight of 20 millions crush and destroy it forever.
But it is answered, in reply to all this, that precisely what I have now denounced is in fact guaranteed and sanctioned by the Constitution of the United States. That the right to hold and to hunt slaves is a part of that Constitution, framed by the illustrious fathers of this republic. Then I dare to affirm, notwithstanding all that I have said before, that your fathers, instead of being the honest men that I before declared them to be, were the veriest impostors that ever practiced on mankind. This is the inevitable conclusion, and from it, there is no escape. But I differ from those who charge this baseness on the framers of the Constitution of the United States. It is a slander upon their memory, at least so I believe. as I think, fully and clearly vindicated in the Constitution from any design to support slavery for an hour.
Allow me to say, in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work to the downfall of slavery. I therefore leave off where I began, with hope, while drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions. My spirit is cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age. Nations do not now stand the same relation to each other that they did ages ago. No nation can now shut itself up from the surrounding world and trot around in the same old path of its fathers without interference.
The time was when such could be done. But a change has now come over the affairs of mankind. Walled cities and empires have become unfashionable. The arm of commerce has borne away the gates of the strong city. Intelligence is penetrating the darkest corners of our globe. Wind, steam, and lightning are its chartered agents. Oceans no longer divide, but link nations together. From Boston to London is now a holiday excursion. Space is comparatively annihilated. Thoughts expressed on one side of the Atlantic are distinctly heard on the other. In the fervent aspirations of William Lloyd Garrison, I say, and let every heart join in saying it. If you will, please stand and read the final words that are on page 2 at the top. At the very top. Shall we begin? All God speed the day when human blood shall cease to flow, and every clime be understood, the claim of human brotherhood, and each return for evil good, not blow for blow. That day will come, all feuds end, and change into a faithful friend, each foe.
So that we don't settle for what is going on now.
Okay.
Just touch shoulder.
Touch shoulders, please.
If you just touch shoulder.
And then Philip. Philip, will you come and tell us what is next?
Yep. All right.
Wow, such a powerful speech we all just heard. Soon we're going to hear from a panel of a multi-generation panel that we put together. My name is Philip Avila. I am the Assistant Director for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the town of Amherst. Thank you. I'm going to invite our panelists to come on upstage here. Just have a few questions that we're going to go ahead and just discuss here, and then we'd love to hear some questions from the audience. So when that time comes, I'll open it up, and if you could just raise your hand if you have a question, then we'll go ahead and I'll come to you with the microphone, and you go ahead and ask your question. No. Yep. Okay. All right. Go ahead. All right, can we get one more round of applause for all the readers that read? Awesome, thank you. Just getting a few more things together here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and ask our panel to go ahead and introduce themselves so you all know who they are, but if you would like a more detailed description, it is in your program here.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Moiston. Hi. Oh, use the microphone. Right.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Moiston.
Hello, my name is Akua Ampiabani.
My name is Eshu Bumpus.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us. As you can see, amazing folks here that we have. First question that we have today is, Frederick Douglass called the 4th of July celebration a symbol of the nation's gross injustice and cruelty because millions of enslaved people were excluded from the freedoms being celebrated. How do you react to his criticism of American democracy? And Eshu, let's have you go first.
I made myself some notes. The problem, as I see it, is not so much American democracy as American capitalism. You talk about democracy at a time when democracy meant male white landowners could vote. That's not democracy. So let's not even pretend, right? They had a financial incentive to keep black people in a certain place. But the most striking thing to me is that Douglass knew exactly who he was talking to, you know? And so I don't think that as hopeful as he was, I don't think his hope was in the people he was talking to that day. I think his hope was in the future. I want you to hear a quote. I am not, nor have ever been, in favor of bringing about in any way the social and political equality of the white and black races. That I am not, nor ever have been in favor of making voters or jurors of Negroes, nor of qualifying them to hold office, nor to intermarry with white people. That was Abraham Lincoln, by the way. That was Abraham Lincoln. He's one of the good guys. That's where we stood. It's not a whole lot different than where we stand, but that's where we stood. So he wasn't talking to white people of 1852, I guarantee you. He was talking to two groups. He was talking to us, and he was talking to the international community. Because only so much you can do when that many eyes are looking at you that you can keep going with it, you know? We talked, I'm sorry, I get hot.
Oh, you're doing great. That's really great. Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
let somebody else
Yeah. All right. Have the same question here for you, Akua. How do you react to his criticism on American democracy?
I feel like his criticism on American democracy.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I feel like his criticism on American democracy is correct because he went out there to call the people out on their hypocrisy, especially in asking him to give a speech on praising America on the 4th of July. I feel like asking him to do that speech was both rude and very disrespectful to ask him for that. And I think that his criticism can also be brought into today's age, where there is still very clear signs of hypocrisy in today's government and what they're doing here today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. And how bold, right?
Do you all see what just happened? This is an elder. This is the next generation. This is the hope of the future. This is the one who has made the way open for the representatives of those who've made their way for us to be here. And she just agreed with him.
Yep, yep. Yeah.
We're talking about the elders and young people's energy.
That's it. That's
That
it.
is what it is. It is what we, as a woman who has parents who have set the system for me to say in my school where I work, to talk about what it looks like to be discriminated against in Northampton, and then my children tell that ECHOA says that we are in agreement. There is power in that multi-generational system, because let me tell you, they got their system stacked. We need to stack our system now.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, thank you, thank you. And that's why we have this panel up here today, to show that multi-generational influence here. Jennifer, I'll ask you the same question. How do you react?
Okay, can we hear me? Okay, good. So again, similar to what my co-panelist said, I don't necessarily think that he was, what is the word I'm looking, rejecting the ideas of the democracy. I think it was the hypocrisy, as my co-panelists have said, and that he was challenging the values that are brought into that more, as opposed to the democracy piece itself. It's like you are claiming that people are free, but you have left an entire community out of that freedom. And yeah, so basically to reflect on our own values, to see that they are measuring up to what the standard actually is in paper. And I just wanted to add it to the capitalism, racial capitalism.
Yeah, yeah. And how bold for them to ask him to give this speech. You said that, right? And what a task Frederick Douglass took on to actually give the speech that people needed to hear at that time.
And he didn't open it with any sugar-coated.
That's right. He did not sugarcoat it. That's it. Yes.
And
So,
he invited unity in that final statement that Sister Carly just read.
that's correct. That's correct.
Invited unity.
Yes. Let's take on one more question, and let's open it up to our audience here. A central theme in the speech is the hypocrisy of proclaiming liberty and equality while denying those rights to entire groups of people. What examples of this contradiction stood out most to you in the speech, and do you see similar tensions between American ideas and reality today? And why don't we go ahead and start out with you, Jennifer?
Sorry, I too have notes. They're on my phone because it's a lot to unpack. So I have to reread the question tonight. So I don't think that Douglass needed to convince people that slavery wrong. I think that during the time people knew that it was wrong and they just really didn't care, right? Which is a grossly disgusting. And also that the principles that they were applying were done inconsistently as opposed to across the overall board to everyone. And I think, so my whole thing about his speech really is the lack of accountability that happens. And so to me, this speech is more about accountability than anything else, because when we think about, yes, slavery has ended, but the Black community is not necessarily free, right? And it's not free because there are these systems that are in place. And so where's the accountability for dismantling those?
Yep.
I think the biggest example of hypocrisy with the speech that he showed was Christianity, because I believe that a slave owner cannot be Christian at the same time, because it goes against mostly all Christian values, like loving thy neighbor. I think that even today, that you can't be a Christian and still like order people to tear families apart or deport them into countries, because it's not loving each other at all. It's just hating and violence, and it goes against everything that Jesus has taught us.
Great. Yep.
When Trump and his lackeys fired hundreds and hundreds of Black people saying it was DEI, even though those particular people were far more qualified than anybody in his cabinet, what he's basically saying is this: I wouldn't have hired them, no matter what their qualifications are, because of the color of their skin. That is hatred. That's exactly what that is. And that's what we've been facing. That's what we've been dealing with. And the numbers are surprising. The fact that somebody like him could get in the first place tells you the numbers are really surprising. But what is it numbers of? It's numbers of people who consider themselves white. And the shit is not going to end until people stop doing that.
Yep.
This country was founded on white supremacy, period. That's what it was founded on. The idea that you could, I could go on, but the idea that you could murder and take people's land, that you could kidnap and force people to labor on that land that you just murdered to get, is all based on white supremacy. It's all based on we have a right because we're white. But here's the trick. What started out as white was white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Even Catholics weren't white. Gradually, they had to expand their numbers. Doing so much dirt to so many people all over the planet, they had to expand their numbers. So they started letting other people in on being white.
Yeah.
Irish weren't white. Italians weren't white. Jewish people weren't white. And that's not even a race, that's a religion. But people participated. People participated. It sounded reasonable. Oh, there's such a thing as race. It's not scientific. It's not reasonable. It's evil.
Yep.
That's what it is.
That's it. That's it.
And it's
Awesome.
not going to stop until people say, no, don't call me white, I'm Irish, I'm Italian, I'm whatever I am. Thank you, because there's only one race. Over and over, we've been like Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. You know, over and over. When they said it was the end of slavery, the 13th Amendment, it had one important caveat. Yeah, if you commit a crime, then slavery's all right. And oh, they jumped on that. And that's the beginning of this amazing prison system we have in this country. Mass incarceration.
Yep.
Okay. And crimes like being black on a sunny day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But over and over, black folks fought in the Revolutionary War. Black folks fought and oh man.
Yeah.
Civil War. World War I. World War II. Every time we came back from war, we got the shaft. Every goddamn time. Every time. All of a sudden, no, the last hired, first fired, you know. Every single time. The reason? Because they were able to expand the numbers of white people. Because people went along with the white. It's gotta stop. And the only people that can stop it is the people that are doing it. Stop calling yourself white.
Yeah.
That's the only way to end this madness.
Let's move on to some questions from the audience here. I see a hand over here and I see a hand over here. I think we're only going to have a few questions, so let me go ahead and... You good? All right.
So I'm just recognizing, first of all, thank you all. I'm just recognizing we're here today reading the speech of Frederick Douglass's, and we're reflecting on the relevance of historical statements to now, and in general, the relevance of looking to the past and how it is relevant today. So I ask of all three of you, what spaces are you engaging with that are giving you information on history and on the past, especially to share it here for us to potentially make use of those spaces?
Great question, great question. Would you like to go first? Have everybody guess?
The spaces that I use to engage the past are mostly research. I like to learn about the past so I can do better in the future. So doing research on the past and reading about our history really makes me more well-informed to better make decisions in the future. To speak here today and to... Yeah, yes, both online and with books.
Jennifer?
So, is that me? Yeah. So, no, I hear echoes. So very similar to Akua, you know, doing your own research and educating your own self is the way that I try to go, because honestly, being a person of color in today, I'm consistently doing and teaching people just because the world is what it was, and people only know what they know, right? And so, but even on in the local setting, you know, so we have ancestral bridges, which ties its roots to Frederick Douglass, as I think it was Perry Roberts is connected, because they were both on the same slave plantation. So it's just doing your own research and recognizing that all of these things that happen, even though we live in this fabulous tofu curtain, happened here as well.
That's it. That's it. That's you.
I'm happily retired.
Yes. Yes. All right. Let's take on one more question here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up our programming.
Okay, so my question is, how do we encourage, I do a lot of speaking at counselor meetings in Northampton. How is it that we can encourage greatly white people to do their work? Because honestly, I'm tired of educating white people when they can look up the answers. It's very convenient with Google. How do we encourage that? And the second part is, how do we, as Black folk, hold on to each other when we are in a predominantly white space?
Great question. Eshu?
You know, I don't think you have to teach anybody. I think we have to love each other. You know, it's just what we need to do is give each other reasons to love each other. You know, that's not that hard either. But I don't think you need to teach anybody.
Let's see.
Koa? Said that has some kind of sense to it. It is a lie to put your race, your skin color, above anybody. Yes. To measure your skin color, whether or not you're going to go to jail. To measure your skin color to the point that I'm afraid to go to a hospital because I'm 89 years old and they don't want me, and if they have put the elders in, it's time for you to go slide. I don't need to be told that there is not what Eshu says that has merit. What she said, and what Ekwa says has merit. What this sister here says has some merit. All of us have to share ideas and work our lazy asses into doing something about what is going on here. All of us have a job to do. Listening, being respectful to listen, and not then make the decision about what a huge thing is about. You can have your ideas, but and when somebody is speaking, look at them. If you're looking off at somebody else and you going, you know, I knew it's gonna look like this, that's bullshit. So I'm just saying, and I'm respecting the house of the Lord, but I do understand that Peter, the disciple of the Lord, was thrown out because he had a very muddy mouth. So I know that, but let's look at one another. Let's hear what you have to say and share, get something going to share ideas with white folks. White folks, y'all got a lot of work to do. Thank you.
Yes.
It comes down to that.
What do you two want to close us out with answering that?
I said to somebody here in this church, I don't want to come to nothing and speak at nothing that no young people are in, and there they are. Here.
There we are.
Right.
There we are. There we are.
And so then nobody gonna give me no credit for that, but I know what I said. And I know what happened after I said it. The young folk are on stage and they got something to say.
Yes.
Unto these, Christ said, suffer the children to come unto me and forbid them not. For of such is the kingdom. That's the kingdom of God sitting there. That little boy that came and leaned into the mic, that's the kingdom of God there. This is what this is all about. Everybody's got a good idea and a bad idea. I have them so often I don't know. So, but I'm still going to talk because somebody will pick up on something that might get to unity, because all of my good ideas are about unity.
Yes.
And you cannot be lazy doing unity. You cannot be looking to put your picture in the newspaper because you said something incredible. Nothing you say is incredible. It's just hopeful.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for those words.
No, thank you for those feelings. I don't just say words.
Thank you for those feelings.
I love people. I love people. And I want us to see us. Christ never did. When the woman was the men were thinking about stoning the woman because of adultery. Now they had the stones all laid out. And there was a whole lot of men and one woman. And Christ was there, but he didn't say nothing. He just leaned over, looked down, and did something. I wonder what he did. But anyway, he was looking down. And when somebody asked, and I think it was somebody asked, he said, basically, don't it take two to make adultery? Well, that's basically what he said. So quit trying to set it up where white folks are going to feel better about anything. Check yourself out. Check your 4th of July. Did y'all talk about anything about unity? I looked at, I didn't listen because I'm old. You can't just let me listen to everything because then I start acting crazy. Yeah, I do. So anyway, at the 4th of July, who said anything about unity? It was all kinds of songs and what are you drinking and all of this. And that was the 4th of July, and I thought, is it going to be like that when we get to South Church? And my good mind said, no, it ain't going to be like this. It's going to be good. But I hear sounds of, well, it's time to go, and what time is it now? Because it's time, we've been called a lie, and we've been called, what time is it? The time is now. Well, for us to own what we need to do together, misunderstandings and different ideas and different point of views at all. SU has said, I'm happily retired. But SU is not happily retired. You can't get that nice, that mad, and still be happily retired. You can't withdraw from the world. You can't do it. You gotta just be here.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
you
Yes, gotta stand up. Thank you. All right, well, we're going to close out our panel discussion here today. We're going to encourage you all to join us downstairs for further discussion. There's some refreshments. There's going to be books down there, some free books, and also some books that will be read, and then a discussion happening in September on the book Homecoming. It is in your program here. I'd just like to give out a special thank you to our panelists, our sponsors, the choir, you attendees, participants reading, and then also for right now we're going to have a closing of the reading of Lift Every Voice. It is in your program here, so please sing along. The choir is going to stand up and we're going to walk out, so if you don't know the words, it's in the program. If you do know the words, please sing along.
Lift every voice and sing. Till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise. High as the listening skies. Let it resound. Loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song. Full of the faith that the dark past. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has taught us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over the way with the tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Where the white gleam. Okay, this last verse is a prayer. God of our silent tears, though brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us unto the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand. True to our God, true to our native land.